The vanishing colony. The distress beacon from Proxima Centauri had been silent for 73 hours when Captain Elena Reyes received the order to investigate. Her reconnaissance vessel, the ESS Pathfinder, was the closest military ship to humanity's most distant and prosperous colony. 400,000 souls lived on New Terra, as the colonists called it. Scientists, engineers, farmers, teachers, children, all gone silent. "Captain, we're approaching New Terra's orbit," Lieutenant Commander Sato announced, his usually steady voice betraying a hint of tension. Still no response to hails. Elena stood from her command chair, stretching muscles stiff from hours of waiting. At 43, she was younger than most captains in the Earth Alliance fleet, but gray already threaded through her close-cropped black hair, a testament to 15 years on the frontier. "Put it on screen, maximum magnification," she ordered. The view screen flickered to life, showing the blue-green marble of humanity's pride. The first successfully terraformed exoplanet, now in its 30th year of colonization. From orbit, everything looked normal. Cities glittered on the night side. Agricultural domes dotted the equatorial regions. The massive spaceport near the northern pole appeared intact. "Life signs?" Elena asked, already suspecting the answer. Science Officer Dr. Lin Wang shook her head. "None, Captain. Not in the cities, not in the outlying areas. Environmental systems are still functioning, but there's nobody home." A chill ran down Elena's spine. "Could be a sensor malfunction. Prepare a landing party. I want boots on the ground within the hour." 12 minutes later, Elena stepped into the dropship, accompanied by Dr. Wang, Security Chief Torres, and 4 Marine specialists. The descent was smooth, the automated landing systems at the spaceport still operational. They touched down on an empty landing pad in complete silence. "Spread out, standard search pattern," Elena ordered. "Full biohazard protocols until we know what happened here." New Terra's capital city sprawled before them, a marvel of modern architecture and ecological design. Buildings of transparent aluminum and carbon composites rose into the sky, connected by elevated walkways and surrounded by carefully cultivated gardens. Elena had visited once before, 3 years ago, when the colony celebrated its quarter-century anniversary. Back then, the streets had been filled with people, music, laughter. Now, there was only wind. "Captain," Torres called over the comm. "You need to see this." Elena found the security chief standing in the central plaza, surrounded by nothing. No bodies, no signs of struggle, just empty streets and abandoned vehicles. "It's the same everywhere," Torres said, voice grim. "We've checked markets, hospitals, residential zones. Everything's intact. Food's still on plates, vehicles with keys in the ignition. It's like everyone just vanished." Dr. Wang approached, her scanner beeping softly. "Captain, I'm detecting unusual energy readings. Quantum fluctuations unlike anything in our database." "Hostile action?" Elena asked. "Unknown, but the pattern suggests extreme spatial distortion. Almost like..." Wang hesitated. "Like a hole in reality itself." Before Elena could respond, her communicator chirped. "Captain Reyes," came the urgent voice of Lieutenant Commander Sato from orbit. "We're detecting a vessel approaching at high speed. Configuration unknown." Elena's blood ran cold. "Hostile. Uncertain. It's not responding to hails, but it's on an intercept course with New Terra. ETA 3 minutes. Return to the dropship," Elena ordered her team. "Now." They were halfway back when the sky darkened. Elena looked up to see a massive shape blotting out the sun, a vessel unlike any she'd encountered in her years of service. It wasn't built. It seemed grown, with organic curves and surfaces that shifted like liquid metal. No visible engines, no weapons ports, yet its presence radiated power beyond human understanding. "My God," whispered Dr. Wang beside her. "What is that?" As if in answer, A beam of pale blue light extended from the vessel, touching the ground less than 50 meters from their position. Within the light, shapes began to form, humanoid but wrong somehow, too tall, too fluid in their movements. Their bodies seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, creating the impression of walking voids with only the barest suggestion of limbs and faces. "Hold position," Elena ordered, fighting the instinct to run. No provocative moves. One of the entities stepped forward, its movement graceful despite its unsettling appearance. When it spoke, the sound bypassed their ears and resonated directly in their minds. Observers. Not expected. Unfortunate timing. Elena swallowed hard, fighting the disorientation of the telepathic communication. "I am Captain Elena Reyes of the Earth Alliance vessel Pathfinder. Who are you? And what have you done with our colony?" The entity tilted what passed for its head, the gesture disturbingly human despite its alien form. "We are the Voidwalkers. The colony was necessary. A regrettable but essential harvesting." Harvesting. Dr. Wang's voice shook with rage or fear, maybe both. 400,000 people. Energy signatures. Consciousness patterns. Data collection complete. With startling speed, the entity reached out, its limb elongating impossibly to touch Elena's forehead. Images flooded her mind. Stars dying, civilizations falling, a darkness spreading across multiple galaxies. Then, more immediate, new Terra's colonists, not dead but suspended in some kind of energy matrix, their consciousness extracted for study. "You will forget. Return to your origin. The harvest continues." Elena stumbled backward, breaking contact. Her head pounded with information she couldn't process, couldn't contain. Through watering eyes, she saw the entities retreating into their beam of light. "Wait," she called. "Return our people." But the beam was already retracting. Within seconds, the massive vessel began to move, accelerating with impossible speed until it vanished among the stars. Elena stood trembling, the alien memories already fading from her mind, leaving only fragments and a deep, unshakable dread. "Captain." Torres approached cautiously. "Are you all right?" Elena turned to her team, a cold determination replacing the fear. "We're returning to the ship. Set course for Earth, maximum speed. The Alliance needs to know what happened here." "And what exactly did happen?" Torres asked. Elena looked back at the empty city, now haunted by the knowledge of what had been taken. "War happened, Chief. A war we didn't know we were fighting. But we will now." 3 weeks later, the largest gathering of Earth Alliance leadership in a decade convened in the orbital station Terra Prime. Military commanders, political representatives, and scientific advisors from every human settlement across 7 star systems crammed into the Grand Council chamber. Admiral William Frost, Supreme Commander of Alliance forces, stood at the central podium reviewing the evidence for the 3rd time. The holographic displays showed New Terra from multiple angles. The empty streets, the abandoned homes, the strange energy readings that defied conventional physics. 400,000 people, he said, his weathered face grim. Gone without a trace. And Captain Reyes' encounter with these Voidwalkers represents the only contact we've had with the perpetrators. Elena sat in the witness chair, still haunted by the fragments of alien memory lodged in her mind. "They spoke about harvesting, Admiral. They were collecting consciousness patterns, energy signatures. They called it necessary, but offered no explanation why. And you believe they pose an imminent threat to other human colonies?" asked Representative Lakshmi Patel, the civilian head of the Alliance Security Council. "I do," Elena replied without hesitation. "What I saw in that moment of contact was systematic. New Terra wasn't random. It was selected, studied, and then harvested. They're collecting data on sentient species, and humanity is on their list." Murmurs swept through the chamber. Admiral Frost raised a hand for silence. "What Captain Reyes experienced aligns with reports from our outermost listening posts. We've detected similar energy signatures in 3 other sectors, all moving in patterns consistent with systematic exploration. Dr. Elias Chen, director of xenobiology, stepped forward. The neurological scans from Captain Raish show evidence of advanced telepathic intrusion. What's most concerning is that these entities appear to exist partially outside our normal spacetime. They're not just aliens. They're extradimensional beings capable of manipulating reality in ways we barely understand. The chamber erupted in overlapping voices: fear, anger, disbelief. Admiral Frost waited for the noise to subside before speaking again. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't need to tell you what's at stake. These Voidwalkers have already demonstrated they can neutralize an entire colony without firing a shot. We must assume all human settlements are potential targets. Representative Podel leaned forward. What are you proposing, Admiral? A unified response. The largest fleet mobilization in human history. Admiral Frost's voice hardened. Every ship, every weapon, every resource we can muster. We find these Voidwalkers, and we make it absolutely clear that humanity is not to be harvested. Elena watched the faces around the chamber. Scientists calculating odds, politicians weighing constituencies, military officers already planning deployments. In their eyes, she saw determination hardening into resolve. I motion for an immediate vote on full military mobilization, called Representative Chen of Mars Colony, his voice steady despite the gravity of the proposal. The vote was swift and unanimous. As the session concluded, Admiral Frost approached Elena. Captain Rice, in light of your direct experience with the enemy, I'm promoting you to Commodore. You'll lead the Advanced Reconnaissance Division of what we're calling Operation Reckoning. Elena stood, accepting the weight of the new rank and responsibility. Thank you, Admiral. I won't let you down. As they walked from the chamber, Admiral Frost lowered his voice. Those fragments in your mind, can you use them? Any insight into their weaknesses, their intentions? Elena hesitated. The alien memories were like shards of glass, painful to examine too closely. I see glimpses of their history. They're ancient, Admiral, far older than humanity. And they're running from something worse than them. Running or not, they've taken our people, Frost replied grimly. And we're going to get them back. 3 days later, as Elena's new command ship prepared to depart, she stood at the viewport watching the massive shipyards of Earth orbit come to life. Dormant construction platforms reactivated, automated factories repurposed, civilian vessels retrofitted with weapon systems. The planet below was mobilizing for war on a scale not seen since the Martian secession 50 years earlier. Commodore, her new executive officer announced from behind her, all systems are online. We're ready to depart on your order. Elena nodded, her gaze still fixed on the growing armée. Across human space, similar scenes were playing out. The greatest concentration of military might in their history, all focused on a single purpose. The Voidwalkers believe they can take what's ours without consequences, she said quietly. It's time to show them how wrong they are. With a final glance at the blue planet below, Elena turned to her command chair. Set course for the frontier. Operation Reckoning begins now. The assembly of vengeance. The shipyards of Ceres hummed with unprecedented activity. What had once been a modest mining outpost in the asteroid belt had transformed into the heart of humanity's war machine. Massive construction gantries extended for kilometers in every direction, their skeletal frames cradling warships in various stages of completion. Swarms of construction drones moved like fireflies against the blackness of space, welding hull plates and installing weapon systems. Admiral Marcus Chen stood in his observation post, hands clasped behind his back, as he surveyed the largest military buildup in human history. At 62, Chen had seen his share of conflicts: border skirmishes with the Martian colonies, pirate suppressions in the Kuiper Belt, the brief but bloody Europa insurrection. Nothing compared to this. Progress report, he demanded, not turning to acknowledge his aide's arrival. Colonel Diane Harper consulted her datapad. Ahead of schedule, Admiral. Conversion of the civilian transport fleet is 82% complete. The Jupiter shipyards have delivered the first batch of Nova-class destroyers. Mars reports that ammunition production has tripled in the last month. Chen nodded, eyes fixed on a massive dreadnought taking shape in the central construction bay. The ESS Retribution would be the flagship of humanity's armada, a kilometer-long behemoth armed with weapons that would have been considered war crimes a generation ago. "And the prototype?" he asked quietly. Harper hesitated. "The integration team reports complications. The Voidwalker technology resists conventional engineering approaches. Dr. Volkov believes we're dealing with principles beyond our current scientific understanding." A muscle twitched in Chen's jaw. 3 weeks after the initial mobilization order, a patrol squadron had encountered and destroyed a small Voidwalker scout ship near the ruins of New Terra. The wreckage had yielded fragments of technology, unlike anything humanity had seen, components that seemed to exist in multiple states simultaneously, power sources that drew energy from what Volkov's team called dimensional bleed. "Tell Volkov he has 48 hours to make progress, or I'll find someone who can," Chen said. "We can't afford technical delays. Not when every day could mean another colony harvested." "Yes, Admiral," Harper replied. "There's one more thing. The Mithridian envoy has arrived. They're requesting an immediate audience." Chen finally turned, surprise evident in his weathered features. "The Mithridians?" "Here. Their delegation ship docked 20 minutes ago. 3 representatives, as per protocol." The Mithridian Collective was humanity's oldest ally among the stars, a species of silicon-based beings who had made contact during humanity's first tentative steps beyond the solar system. Relations had always been cordial but distant, with both species respecting each other's sovereignty and rarely interfering in each other's affairs. "Send them to my office," Chen ordered, "and notify General Santos and Dr. Volkov. If the Mithridians are inserting themselves into this situation, I want our top military and scientific leaders present." 30 minutes later, Chen sat across from 3 Mithridian representatives in his spartanly furnished office. The aliens' crystalline bodies refracted light in complex patterns, their communication appendages vibrating subtly as they spoke through translator devices. "We observe your preparations with concern," said the central figure, whose translator identified it as Emissary Ketharl. "The mobilization of your species has not gone unnoticed in the wider galaxy." Chen leaned forward, elbows on his desk. "With respect, Emissary, humanity is responding to an unprovoked attack. 400,000 of our people were taken." "We are aware of the New Terra incident," Ketharl replied, its crystalline structure shifting to a deeper blue hue. "What you call Voidwalkers have been observed by our long-range monitoring stations for several cycles. They are not what you believe them to be." Dr. Volkov, a gaunt man with perpetually disheveled hair, cleared his throat. "You have prior knowledge of these beings." "Not direct contact," said the second Mithridian, introducing itself as Science Director Zervex. "But we have studied similar phenomena. The technology you recovered from their scout vessel matches theoretical models our physicists developed centuries ago, what we call phase shift engineering." General Maria Santos, commander of the Earth Alliance Marine Corps, crossed her arms. "I don't care what their technology is called. They took our people. We want them back." "That may not be possible," Ketharl stated, its tone somehow conveying regret despite the artificial translation. "The Voidwalkers exist partially in what your physics would term alternate dimensional states. Time flows differently for them. What has been days for you may have been centuries from their perspective." A heavy silence fell over the room. Chen felt a cold weight settle in his stomach. "Are you saying our people are already dead?" "Not dead," Zervex corrected, "but transformed, perhaps, integrated into their collective consciousness. The Voidwalkers do not perceive individual entities as you do. They harvest consciousness patterns to expand their understanding of existence." "That's not their right," Chen replied, anger edging into his voice. "Whatever their reasons, they committed an act of war against humanity. The third Mithridian, who had remained silent until now, moved forward. Its crystalline body was darker than the others, shot through with veins of what looked like liquid metal. "I am War Strategist Kormaleth," it introduced itself. "The Collective's military advisor. I speak now not as a diplomat, but as one warrior to another." Chen nodded for it to continue. "You prepare for conventional warfare against an unconventional enemy. Your weapons, impressive as they are, operate within the constraints of three-dimensional space and linear time. The Voidwalkers do not. Then why are you here?" Chen asked bluntly. "To tell us our mission is futile." "No," said Kormaleth. "To offer alliance." The room fell silent again, this time in surprise. The Mithridians had never before offered military cooperation with any species. "The Voidwalkers represent a threat beyond human concerns," continued Kormaleth. "Their harvesting behaviors have been observed in 12 sectors across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. If left unchecked, they will eventually target Mithridian colonies as well." Ketharl raised an appendage, producing a small crystalline device that projected a holographic display in the center of the room. "We bring technical specifications for weapons capable of affecting pan-dimensional entities, and information about the region of space we believe contains their primary collective." Chen exchanged glances with Volkov and Santos. The scientist's eyes were wide with excitement, while the general's expression remained cautious. "Why now?" Chen asked. "Why not warn us before New Terra was taken?" "We did not anticipate their interest in human consciousness," admitted Zervex. "Your species is young, your neural patterns relatively simple compared to older civilizations. The harvest was unexpected." Chen bristled at the implied insult, but kept his focus on the strategic implications. "And what do you want in return for this alliance?" "Access to the Voidwalker Collective," Ketharl answered immediately. "Their consciousness repository contains knowledge spanning billions of years and thousands of civilizations. The scientific value is incalculable. While we seek vengeance, you seek knowledge," Chen summarized. "An unusual basis for military cooperation, is it?" asked Kormaleth. "Both our species will fight with greater effectiveness when our core motivations are satisfied. The arrangement is logical." Chen considered the proposal. The Mithridian weapons technology alone could save years of research and development. Their knowledge of the enemy would be invaluable for tactical planning. "I'll need to consult with Alliance leadership," he said finally. "But speaking as military commander, I support this alliance. We'll provide you with everything we have on the Voidwalkers, including the recovered technology." "There is one more thing," said Ketharl. "The Mithridian Collective has begun construction of our own fleet. With your permission, we would integrate our vessels with your armada under joint command." General Santos raised an eyebrow. "How many ships are we talking about?" "Currently, 317 warships of various classifications," replied Kormaleth, "with approximately 200 more in production." Chen couldn't hide his surprise. The Mithridians had always presented themselves as a primarily scientific and diplomatic species. The idea that they maintained a military fleet of such size was startling. "We have existed for 23,000 of your years, Admiral," Ketharl said, seemingly reading Chen's thoughts. "One does not survive that long without preparation for conflict." The meeting concluded with preliminary agreements for information sharing and joint training exercises. As the Mithridian delegation departed, Chen turned to Volkov and Santos. "Thoughts?" "Their technology is legitimate," Volkov said immediately. "The theories they're sharing about dimensional physics align with our own research, just centuries more advanced. With their help, we might actually stand a chance." Santos was more measured. "I don't trust their motivations. Knowledge collection seems too academic a reason to commit to war." "Agreed," said Chen. "But we need them, regardless of their true agenda. Have your best people work with their technical advisors. I want those weapon upgrades implemented across the fleet within the month." As word of the Mithridian alliance spread, the pace of military preparation accelerated across human space. On Mars, vast underground factories worked around the clock, producing ammunition and armor plating. The shipyards of Titan converted mining equipment into capital ship components. Even the distant colonies of Tau Ceti sent their contributions, rare minerals, and specialist engineers. Commodore Elena Reyes, meanwhile, led her reconnaissance division along the projected path of the Voidwalker vessel that had taken New Terra's population. Her fleet of 60 fast attack vessels pushed deeper into uncharted space, establishing forward observation posts and quantum communication relays. 6 weeks into the operation, her flagship detected a faint energy signature matching the Voidwalker profile. "Confirmed," Commodore reported her sensor officer, Lieutenant Park. "Same quantum fluctuation pattern we recorded at New Terra, just much weaker. Appears to be some kind of residual trail." Elena studied the sensor readings, the fragments of alien memory stirring in her mind. They don't use conventional propulsion. They fold space around themselves, leaving these quantum echoes. "Trail leads toward the Perseus arm," Park added, "consistent with our previous projections." Elena nodded, then opened a channel to Admiral Chen. "Sir, we found them. Request permission to pursue with full reconnaissance force." Chen's reply was immediate. "Negative, Commodore. Track, but do not engage. The main fleet is still assembling. We'll need another 3 weeks before the Armada is ready to launch." Elena bit back her frustration. Every day meant the Voidwalkers slipped further away, potentially taking more colonies. "With respect, Admiral, the longer we wait." "I understand your urgency, Commodore," Chen interrupted. "Better than most. My family was on New Terra." Elena fell silent, surprised by the personal revelation. "My daughter, her husband, my 2 grandchildren," Chen continued, his voice steady despite the pain underlying his words. "So believe me when I say I want nothing more than immediate pursuit. But we get one shot at this. I won't waste it on a premature engagement." "Understood, sir," Elena replied softly. "We'll maintain surveillance and continue mapping their trail." "The Mithridian Alliance changes everything," Chen added. "Their dimensional weapons are being integrated into our ships now. When we move against the Voidwalkers, it will be with the full might of 2 civilizations behind us." After disconnecting, Elena sat alone in her ready room, the weight of command heavy on her shoulders. The alien memories flickered at the edges of her consciousness, images of vast, incomprehensible structures suspended between dimensions, beams of pure energy moving through solid matter, as if it were mist. "They're running from something," she remembered thinking during the first encounter. What could frighten beings with such power? She pushed the thought aside. Whatever the Voidwalkers' motivations, whatever cosmic horror they might be fleeing, it didn't justify what they'd done to New Terra. Humanity would have its reckoning. 3 weeks later, as promised, the combined human Mithridian Armada assembled at the edge of charted space. Over 1,700 warships gathered in precise formation. The sleek, angular vessels of the Earth Alliance alongside the crystalline structures of the Mithridian fleet, which seemed to shift and change depending on the angle of observation. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the ESS Retribution, watching as the last ships took their positions in the battle group. The massive viewscreen showed squadron after squadron reporting ready status, their signatures blinking green across the tactical display. "Final count, Colonel," he asked Harper. 1,423 Earth Alliance vessels, 315 Mithridian ships, she reported. The largest combined fleet ever assembled in known space. Chen nodded, satisfaction evident in his bearing. Every ship carried enhanced weapons based on Mithridian technology, quantum disruptors, phase shift torpedoes, dimensional anchor generators. If the scientists were correct, these weapons would affect the Voidwalkers even as they shifted between dimensional states. "Signal all vessels," Chen ordered. "Operation Reckoning commences in 30 minutes. Primary objective: locate and secure the Voidwalker Collective. Secondary objective: recover any surviving humans from New Terra." As the orders were relayed throughout the Armada, Chen opened a private channel to Commodore Reyes, still stationed at the forward reconnaissance position. "Your discovery made this possible, Elena," he said, dropping formality for a moment. "When we push into Voidwalker space, I want your division leading the way." Elena's holographic image nodded. "We're ready, Admiral. The quantum trail has remained stable. We've mapped a direct course to what we believe is their central territory." "Good hunting, Commodore." "For New Terra." "For New Terra," she echoed. Chen closed the channel and turned to his bridge crew. "All stations, prepare for synchronized quantum jump. Target coordinates locked. Operation Reckoning is go." Throughout the assembled Armada, engines flared to life. Space itself seemed to bend as nearly 1,800 ships activated their jump drives simultaneously, tearing holes in reality and vanishing into the quantum void. The hunt for the Voidwalkers had begun. The quantum divide. The quantum jump sequence lasted 17 hours, the longest continuous faster-than-light transit in human history. As the Armada emerged into normal space, the crew of every vessel experienced the same momentary disorientation, the same subtle wrongness that came from traveling too far, too fast. Commodore Elena Reyes was the first to recover, her mind perhaps acclimated to the strange sensations from her previous contact with the Voidwalkers. She steadied herself against her command console and surveyed the area of space they had entered. "Status report," she ordered, her voice cutting through the fog of jump sickness that still affected her bridge crew. Lieutenant Commander Park blinked rapidly, forcing his eyes to focus on his instruments. "All ships accounted for, Commodore. Formation intact. We're approximately 32,000 light-years from Earth, deep in the Perseus Arm. And the Voidwalker signal." "Stronger here," Park confirmed. "Much stronger. We're definitely in their territory now." Elena studied the main view screen, which showed nothing but empty space. No planets, no stars, just a strange violet nebula that seemed to pulse with inner light. But her instruments told a different story. Quantum fluctuations rippled through the region, distorting sensor readings and making precise navigation nearly impossible. "This can't be right," muttered Science Officer Tara Martinez, frowning at her console. "According to these readings, the local space-time continuum is folded on itself. Multiple layers of reality occupying the same coordinates." Elena felt a chill as fragments of alien memory surfaced in her mind. "They don't build, they fold. Their structures exist between dimensions, visible only from certain quantum states." Before Martinez could respond, a priority communication came through from Admiral Chen aboard the Retribution. "Commodore, are you seeing this?" Chen asked without preamble. "If you mean the dimensional anomalies, yes," Elena replied. "Standard sensors are having trouble making sense of it, but there's definitely something here. The Mithridians are providing enhanced scanning technology, transferring to your vessels now." Elena's tactical display flickered, then reformed with new depth and clarity. What had appeared as empty space now revealed itself as a vast, complex structure, a lattice of energy and matter that extended in all directions, woven through multiple layers of reality. "My God," whispered Martinez. "It's a Dyson sphere, but built across dimensional boundaries rather than around a star." "Life signs?" Elena asked, though she already suspected the answer. Martinez adjusted the scanner parameters. "Millions, billions. The system can't quantify. The energy patterns are too dense, too intermingled." "New Terra's colonists could be anywhere in that structure," Elena said grimly. Chen's voice returned over the comm. "All reconnaissance vessels, maintain position. The main fleet will establish a defensive perimeter while we determine our next move." Over the next 6 hours, the human Mithridian armada arranged itself in a three-dimensional battle formation around the edge of the dimensional anomaly. Sensor probes were launched, data collected, and tactical options discussed in a continuous stream of encrypted communications. In the war room of the ESS Retribution, Admiral Chen met with his senior staff and the Mithridian command representatives. A holographic projection of the Voidwalker structure dominated the center of the room, rotating slowly to reveal its impossible geometry. Our dimensional analysts estimate the structure contains at least 9 overlapping reality states, reported Zurvex, the Mithridian science director. The Voidwalkers exist primarily in what we would call the 4th and 5th dimensional planes, with physical manifestations capable of interacting with our 3-dimensional space. General Santos leaned forward, studying the hologram with narrowed eyes. Can our weapons affect them across these dimensional boundaries? The phase-shift torpedoes should penetrate the outer dimensional barriers, confirmed Kormaleth, the Mithridian war strategist. But we cannot predict how the Voidwalkers will respond to direct aggression. They committed an act of war against humanity. Chen reminded everyone. We're not here to negotiate. Dr. Volkov cleared his throat nervously. Admiral, with respect, we're dealing with a civilization whose technology and understanding of reality far exceeds our own. The structure before us represents engineering on a scale we can barely comprehend. Your point, Doctor. Perhaps we should attempt communication before we start firing weapons we barely understand at beings we know even less about. Chen's expression hardened. They took 400,000 people without warning or negotiation. They communicated their intentions clearly enough through their actions. The debate continued, with the human military contingent pushing for immediate action, while the scientific advisors urged caution. The Mithridians observed the disagreement with their crystalline features unreadable, offering technical insights but avoiding political positions. Finally, Chen raised a hand, silencing the room. We will send a single communication to the Voidwalker Collective. We will demand the immediate return of the new Terra colonists. We will give them 1 hour to respond. After that, we proceed with the attack plan. No one objected. The message was composed, brief, direct, unambiguous, and transmitted on all frequencies toward the dimensional structure. Then the waiting began. 58 minutes passed with no response. The combined fleet remained at battle stations, weapons charged, shields at maximum. Then, without warning, a section of space directly ahead of the fleet changed. Where empty vacuum had been moments before, a massive object now existed. A Voidwalker vessel dwarfing even the largest ships in the human Mithridian armada. Unlike the vessel Elena had encountered at New Terra, this one appeared more solid, more deliberately manifested in 3-dimensional space. All ships maintained positions, Chen ordered across the fleet-wide channel, his voice steady despite the sudden appearance of the alien behemoth. Weapons hot, but hold fire. A beam of silver-blue light extended from the Voidwalker vessel, terminating in empty space between the opposing forces. Within the light, a figure took shape, humanoid in basic structure but clearly alien, its body shifting between states of matter like liquid mercury caught in an endless flow. Then, simultaneously on every ship in the armada, every communication system activated. The voice that emerged spoke directly into the minds of all present, bypassing language barriers and technological limitations. You have crossed